What's up and welcome back to another video, guys. Today and over the next 48 hours, I'm going to be challenging myself to build an Imperial base. Now there's a few different things that I want to meet the criteria for this base, but I think the first order of business should be laying out the plan and foundation for this base. So without further ado, let's get right on into this challenge. Okay, I've got the little layout of how I want to do this base, and I've decided that I want to build it into the side of a mountain, or at least the mountain front, because I don't know if I have the pieces or the time to build an entire mountain. Now, I did recently buy a bunch of slopes, but I don't know if I bought enough for a mock of this scale, but I may as well give it a shot. So I use these kind of ugly rock pieces just for the base, and then I'll add the detailing later. And then I want to bring the mountain up to about here, I guess, and then the inside of the base over there, I want to have a TIE fighter with those nice little areas to get up into the TIE fighter. I don't know how to explain it. It's like scaffolding and stuff. But I think the main course of action is going to be building this wall and making it look like it is a part of a mountain, and also, you know, supporting the mountain into a way that it's not just going to crumple over and collapse onto the base. So I'm going to get to work on this. I'll show you a time lapse of me building up this mountain slash wall.
I started off by building up the cliff and adding supports for the mountain later on. I added in the opening for the doorway and the overall silhouette that I wanted at the end for the base. I added in archways for extra support, and then I finished building up the sides of the mountain with a bunch of various slopes to try and get a nice overall rounded view of the mountain to make it look nice. After I got that all evened up, I had to add in more supports, and I added a small bridge.
Okay, I've finished up the kind of front side of the mountain. There's a few things that I'm not necessarily happy with, but I think overall it turned out pretty good. You can tell it's a mountain. I think the overall shape needs some work. The only thing is I only ended up buying like slopes like this and not the ones going the other way. So it kind of had to go up gradually and not be able to have like that, I don't know, the difference in the elevation and stuff like that. So that's definitely something that I'll have to purchase at some point soon. But for now, I think it gets the point across. Now, the opening right here, I think works pretty good. It was kind of hard to get it to a point where it was actually stable up here as well, because it's like different heights and you can't really stack the bricks to meet up at the same height at up top, but I think I was able to get it done pretty well. I think over here I was kind of messing around with the idea of having this be more like square versus actually mountainous, and that's what I did, and I don't know if I like it, but I don't know, it's kind of, you can tell it's like the building is up in there in the mountain, which is what I was going for. So I think it's fine, and I like how it kind of comes out, and I even got room for a little interior in there, which you'll see later. I have some plans for that. And then the backside's just a boring old wall that I had to get creative with because I was running out of bricks. But the next thing that I want to do is figure out what I want to do at the top. So like ideally in my imagination, this mountain, you know, goes all the way up and then inside is a hill. But obviously I don't have the parts to do that, and I definitely don't have the time to do that. So I was thinking of just leaving it like this, but I can't just leave it studded up top. And I don't know if I want to make it like foliage up there, or if I want to like tile it off and make it look like the top of a base. So I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna try both and then end up just picking up the one that I want. But it's really late, so I'm gonna go to sleep and then I'll tackle this tomorrow. So I'll figure out which one I want to do, and I'll get back to you guys and get you with a time lapse of me working on this base. All right, I finished off how I wanted to get this top done. I just left it kind of like a natural rock area. I tried to build it up a little more to get some, I don't know, variation in the height, but overall I am pretty happy with that. And I think it is time to start working on the interior of the base, because that's one thing that I don't want to run out of time before I do. Now, unfortunately, I used most of my pieces to build this and the backside of the wall, and this is pretty thick. It's like it's like my palm. So there's a lot of pieces used up in there, but I still think that I should be able to get an okay interior. Unfortunately, don't think I'm going to be able to do walls, but we'll see what I'm able to get done, and I'll get you a time lapse of me working on that.
The first thing that I wanted to do was get the backside tiled off. After I had that tiled off, I started to build the landing pad where the TIE fighter was going to sit later on. It was kind of hard to get these pieces down for some reason because the base plate was uneven, but I was able to get it done eventually. After I got that done, I framed it in with some light bluish gray around the dark gray to get a nice contrast on the flooring to make it seem more detailed. Then I got the TIE fighter in place and started building up the sides. I did the sides in dark gray as well to keep that contrast going on, and then I tried to get a nice mix of stud and tile to have an overall nice look on the ground. Then I started building the area for the command center that I wanted to put in later, and then I had to finish up the tiling around the base.
Okay, I finished off tiling the interior and getting the overall look done. I even got that small kind of like scaffolding area where you can have your TIE pilots getting into the TIE fighter. Can't really see it because of the shadow, but I'm going to add some more detail here later if I have time. But I want to get the front of the base and that whole foliage area done just so I don't run out of time. I want to have the front of the base done, and then I can come back later if I have the time to finish up the detailing in here. So I get a time lapse of me working on the front of the base. The first thing I wanted to do was tile off the entrance to this base and under the little awning. I got a nice mixture of tile and stud there so I could pose minifigures later on. Then I started to build the pathway that's going to lead up to this base. I used a nice mixture of tan, brown, and a darker red kind of color, and a nice mixture of plate and tile to get a nice textured look. Then I moved on to the green plating. I wanted to put plates down so when I put the foliage down, you couldn't see any of the gray underneath it. And after that, I started adding in all of the different foliage and leaf pieces. I finished up with the outer foliage and I think it turned out pretty good. I had to look for like a nice kind of in between because last time I did the foliage like this, I made it too thick to the point where I couldn't really get minifigures through all of the grass. So I think I've got it to a good point where there is still enough spots like back there where I can put minifigures, but it doesn't look bare. You can't really see the studs at all from back here. So I am pretty happy with how this turned out. I also have the like pathway, where all the mud is from where people are walking in and out of the base, which I think turned out okay. I really need to get some more tiles and brown so I can make it just a bit more fluid and not as many studs. That's not supposed to be there. But now I'm kind of coming to the tail end, which is good because we are running out of time to get this done in the 2-day time frame. So I'm going to go grab the minifigures and then we can do some of the last detailing that we have to do for this mock. Now it's time to get to the fun part, the minifigures. I started by adding a small squad of stormtroopers to come and meet the rebels at the front to start off this battle. Then I added in Kanan and Darth Vader up on top of this little bridge to make a nice little scene. Then I also added in some Imperial commandos, definitely not my Republic commandos, repurposed for this mock. Then I wanted to get some scout troopers out in all of the foliage, and I think that they turned out pretty good back there. Then I flipped to the interior where I wanted to add a bunch of different officers, including Thrawn and Agent Callus, two of my favorite figures that I have right now, and then a bunch of other detailing had to be added. And the mock is finished. It was a bit of a buzzard beater. We were running out of time, but I was able to prevail and we got this done, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Now, I will start off just on the outside area. We have our simple kind of terrain and foliage out on the either side, and then a nice dirt path. Like I was saying earlier, I tried to keep the foliage to a minimum just so I was able to get minifigures in there, but I think I got a nice in between of like stud and foliage where you don't actually see the studs at all, and it looks like some really nice foliage work, but I was still able to fit some minifigures in there. I got some scout troopers. I know that those are technically Hoth scout troopers and not the normal scout troopers, but I don't know, is what it is. It's the only ones that I had and I wasn't gonna buy new ones just for this video. But we'll move on to the entrance of the base. Now unfortunately the door does not open, but we have this small squad of stormtroopers who are coming out to meet the rebel resistance. And then unfortunately for the rebels, there is also a group of Imperial commandos back there who are waiting to take on the rebels and defend them from getting into this base with their lives. And overall, I think the entrance to this base is pretty nice. I like the little outcut of the mountain. I was really happy with how that turned out. And unfortunately, like I said, the doors do not open. That's something that I would fix if I was to do this mock again. I would make the doors open because I think that would have been really cool. But overall, I'm happy with how this area turned out. And as we move to the rebels, we have Han Solo leading some fleet troopers, which I will get a better angle on in a little bit. We can't really see it too well from here, but overall the outside, I think I got what I was trying to do done. I didn't want to take away from the actual mountain because that was supposed to be the main focus, so I think I did a good job in having it be interesting while also not having it be too much that it takes away from the rest of the mock. So I really like that nice in between that I was able to find. Now moving on, we have probably my favorite part of the mock, and I don't know why. We have this little bridge type thing coming out with Darth Vader taking on Kanan Jarrus, and as you can see, unfortunately, Kanan is losing pretty bad. He's hanging off the side of this thing, and it doesn't look as dramatic as I was thinking it was going to, just because this is like 3 minifigures high, but ideally this would have been a lot higher up if I did do like the full kind of mountain. But I think that turned out really good, and I really do like the detailing on that. It looks really cool, and it just, I don't know, something about it. And then it also comes to the in cut of the base with a nice little interior room that unfortunately there is no roof access to, so you can't really see what's in there. It's nothing special, it's just a small room with some stormtroopers, but I really like how you can kind of see it from the outside looking in, and it just really makes this seem more like 3D and like there's actually a whole base inside of there. And I don't know, I just really like this scene and how it kind of comes together, and I think that it adds to like the story of this MOC quite a bit if it focuses. It does not want to focus on Darth Vader, it only wants to focus on that stormtrooper for some reason. But we will move on to the other part, being the kind of top of the mountain. Now this was an area that I was kind of stressing a bit because I didn't know what to do with it, and I think I made the right decision making it like a rocky top. I really like the texture there, and also having like the uneven ground for all of the different just variations. I really do like how this turned out, and we have Ezra Bridger taking on the fourth brother in a bit of a duel with some rebels to back him up and some stormtroopers to back up the fourth brother as well. Overall, I do actually really like how this top ended up turning out. I was stressing it, but I think overall it turned out pretty good and it looks nice. Now, like I was saying earlier, ideally I would have made this a lot taller if I had the parts, because you can see the TIE fighter, but we can just ignore that for now. But yes, overall I think this turned out pretty good, and I'm very happy with how the front turned out, especially this part like I was saying earlier. But I'm going to flip around to the interior of this base. Now, I was a bit rushed on the interior given that I was running out of time, but I still think that I got a pretty good depiction of what I had in my mind. You have the TIE fighter being the main kind of focal point on this nice little landing pad, and I also was able to get this small kind of like up like scaffolding area where you have your TIE pilot who is able to get into his TIE fighter from up there, and that turned out really nice and it connects to the wall pretty cool. So that was the main thing that I was trying to achieve, and I got it. We will be able to get a better angle on that in a second, but that was kind of the main goal of the interior of the base. It was just something that I wanted to try to do because I've seen it in so many like different Star Wars medias that I wanted to try and build it, and that was what, like I said, the main thing. But on top of that, I have this nice little control area right here with a nice hollow screen for all of the officers to work. We have 2 officers, and then we have Thrawn talking to Agent Callus as well, you know, getting, I don't know, the plan down of how they're going to deal with this. Maybe Callus is trying to spoil the plans for the Empire, as he is, you know, a bit of a rat. And then we have some just random stuff. I was really struggling to figure out what to do with the rest of this area with the time that I had. So we have a droid, we have a little crate over there, we have some more crates over here, and then back here we've got a weapons rack with some other just stormtroopers and, you know, various minifigures, an officer, an AT-AT pilot or driver, which, you know, turned out pretty good. And that kind of does it for the interior. I want to flip it around one more time just for the outro, kind of. But I would have to say I've been having a lot of fun with the Imperial MOCs lately. I do mostly like Clone Wars themed stuff, and that's what most people watch. But if you guys do like the Imperial MOCs as well, I would like to get a nice balance of the two, and I would like to get some more minifigures, because something, I don't know if this bothers you guys, but it was definitely bothering me, was that I have 3 different types of stormtroopers in here, and it doesn't look right, especially with like the Family Guy Star Wars ones, and then the really good Rogue One style ones, and then just the old classic style ones. It just didn't look right to me. But if you guys would watch more Empire or Rebellion or just original trilogy themed MOCs, I would love to buy more stormtroopers. I just don't want to buy them if it's, you know, I'm not going to use them in MOCs. So let me know down below in the comments if you would like to see more MOCs like this in the future, and also let me know who you think is going to take home the victory in this battle, the Rebellion or the Empire. Personally, I think I'm leading a bit more toward the Empire because Darth Vader is here, Thrawn is here, the fourth brother is here, but maybe Kanan and Ezra can pull out a miracle at some point. Let me know what you thought about this MOC. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Drew signing out.